I will mute my audio. Actually, I'm having cough.
Okay, fine. Okay. So before starting, do we have any questions last session? Any doubts, any questions?
No, not it.
Okay, great. Okay. So last session we discussed about this database connector, right? So generic database connector. So using this, we can able to connect. So create, different databases like Oracle, and MySQL, and Deadby database. We can able to connect using this generic connector. So last time we saw that here different operations are there. So select, insert, update, delete. So based on our requirement, you can choose that operation. Then you can go ahead accordingly. So then one more thing is a query type actually. So here we saw the dynamic query, right? So dynamic query means here you can pass the whatever that where condition you can pass that dynamically, so using wheel expression, so then accordingly you can able to get it that information. So now we'll discuss about remaining two parts. So in the type, so what is meant by parameterized, what is meant by template, so we'll see these two also. Similarly you can see any other operation, we'll say insert. Similarly we can choose any other option, update and delete, so like that. So first we'll discuss about this template. So same thing here. So I'm hitting the request. So first it will come to HTTP part. So then I just logged it actually. So whatever payload you are getting from the consumer, I just hold it. I just displaying that payload. So this logger is also plays better role actually. So sometimes what happen while after deploying the application into server, anything happen, we just go through the logs actually. That time what happened, we have to keep it meaningful logs actually. That time just you can see the logs, you can able to get it where it will get failed. So that's why while implementing the flow, you have to keep it proper logs with some this type of symbols. So accordingly while seeing the server logs, you can able to identify where it will exactly break. So based on these log files, that's why I just kept while starting and while ending. So these are log requests, these are log response, final response. So in between anywhere is fail, so then we can easily identify it actually. So because in server we can't able to see in debug mode, right? Here we can see in debug mode. So that's why based on logs only you can able to identify in server actually where is the overflow breaks. Okay. So next thing
Is there
is,
any folder where logs will be stored?
yeah, we can do like, yes, we can do like that also. So if you want to store the logs, then there is a in under SRC main, some log4j is there actually. We can write the folder creation and store the logs in that. So accordingly, whatever the logs will generate, right, we can store into log4j file. Where it is that we can will see other project. Under SRC main series log4j2.xml is there. If we want to do like that, whatever the logs we are getting, so we have to write the code here. So just we need to create the folder. What were the logs? So here we have different types of logs actually. There is info logs, there is a warning level logs. There is, if you want other trace, and one more is error logs are there. So if you want to store all the logs into single file, we have to write the code here actually. So for creating a folder, so whole things we have to keep it into one folder. So that folder we have to store into some place actually in server. So we can write here actually. That time what happened, whatever the logs generated will store it here itself.
Is it a Java code?
No, no, it's a log XML only. See this XML.
No, okay. This is
Folder
for
creation.
creating a tool.
Yes. We have to write that folder creation. I guess here there is no folder creation. So up to size this allow 10 MB actually. So we can store it actually.
So the logs might have stored somewhere, right? According to this,
Yeah, see
at least
generally,
10 MB.
yeah. So you can store externally, okay? Or else by default, if you see this line, hello world.log, hello world.log. So based on this name, it will generate in the server side. You can see this after deploying in the server. See here we are deploying into Jetty server actually. Internally, AnyPoints today have some server. We can deploy it to server. You can see log console here itself. Suppose once you deploy into MMC server, then with this based on this name, it will generate the log section. Once I will show you that part also where it will generate. So we have to place this project, that zip folder. We have to place into MMC, right? Where is that? Yes, that is in D folder. So yes. That day we discussed it right about MMC console. We start that outside MMC console. Do you remember? We start the project external, right? Outside we start the project.
Right. Another console.
Yeah. So we have
Bin
to.
folder, your
Hmm?
bin folder, right?
Yeah. We start the project outside. Then in that there is a folder name called logs actually. In that logs with that hello world name, it will generate. Generally, how to keep it in program files. I don't know. Here it's not there.
Will it be in workspace? Workspace.
Let's see, it might be personal mail training. It's not there. Please edit studio.
No, inside AnyPoint Studio, right? Workspace will be there.
No, not that. I'm talking about we download that MMC console, right? We have to keep that GIF file into app folder. We
Right.
started that, right? So in that there is a folder called logs. In that logs we can see that with the name of hello world.
Just search it, no, otherwise.
This name you should give actually. See this meal standalone, right? 3.8.1. If you see this, there is a logs. So here that log should generate actually.
So it is creating locks in the local machine, right?
Not local, I'm talking about. So in local we are doing like this, right? Where we are just deployed into Anypoint Studio. So generally we have to install this Mule Stradler server, MMC console in server, right? In that server,
Then only locks will
yeah,
be.
so there is a logs folder, right? In that logs folder, it should generate logs actually.
If I want to store it externally,
Yeah, you have to write the code actually, that XML file.
where I need to change that, where I
This
need to specify the details.
in this XML, we have to create a folder actually. So here just we are getting a dynamically file name, right? So this file name dynamically get it. So we just store it actually. It means homo, then separator, then getting dynamically creating the log folder actually. But this is created at server side for creating, MMC console side. If you want to create, here we need to pass some path actually. So you can do some Googling. You have to create the path of that folder. So you have to create it actually. But now as of now it will create at server side. See this according to this path system.mule.home. Mule.home means based on environment specific, it will create a folder actually. Hello world.log with the name. Here we have to,
Yeah,
this part we have to do it actually. Here only. This rolling file means what happen every 10 MB, it will generate a new file actually. You're getting according to rolling file.
it will
Every
rewrite actually.
it will generate it. Okay. So if you want, I will give the syntax tomorrow. Just I will check it. I will. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. If you want to the folder creation, I will give you the syntax. But in XML itself, we have to do it. Okay, that is the thing. So generally, it's not required because this is already generated to server side, right? Generally, if anything happens, just we'll go to the server, just open that logs. So in that log with the
Can
name,
we increase this size, large size?
we can increase. See, that's what here. So there is a size in the mentioned 10 MB. If you want, you can increase.
After that, it will rewrite or it will just delete.
No, actually, after that, it will create one more folder. Hello world one, like that. It will create.
Okay, okay. But logs, it will not overwrite, right?
No, it's not over. Okay. So that is the thing.
So now in your project, what you are doing, how you are how you are managing the logs?
Same way actually, so I will show you, but this is recording happened anyway.
Yesterday also, I think you have not shared the recordings.
Yesterday we didn't take the class now. Last,
No, no, last
no,
two classes.
no, I shared now.
No, I didn't.
Just check with it. I mean, that after 2 days, I mean, I shared you. I'm remembering I shared you. If not, I will share you.
No, actually last two classes you have not shared.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that is the way to do deployment. So coming back to our session, so I'm trying to insert based on template. See this, I just choose the other operation called insert. Okay, I'm trying to insert some record into server. Sorry, insert into database table. So meanwhile, I'm trying to log in the database also. So this is a database. Did you install MySQL in your machine? Show databases. These are basic commands. Show databases. So list of databases you can see. Use companies name schema. But show tables. These are the records. Just see this here, which is the insert operation. Next one is from template. So there is other type of query. These are different types of query. Previously we saw the dynamic query. Now we are so checking this from template. So we'll work it. And template query reference, we have to choose here parameterized query. Then click this plus symbol. It will open the dialog. I already inserted that required parameters, and that's why I'm trying to edit it. See this here, I'm writing the query. So type as a parameterized, insert into that table. Same, it's like SQL query, MySQL query only. Then we have to pass it what are the parameters you are going to insert it, first name, last name, telephone, email, according to your uh, table. Describe employee. So these are the columns in my table: first name, last name, telephone, some email ID. According to here, all are varchar only, means all are strings only. So so here we have to mention like this: first name, last name, telephone, then email, then values. So same query only. So that MySQL query only. Here we have to bit different. You have to pass like colon after that your column name, that field name here. Colon first name, colon last name, telephone with comma separated, then email. So this is the query you have to write it. If it is a parameterized. So then we have to pass that value, right? We have to pass that value. So then that value you have to pass here. So there is an input parameters are there. So you have to click the plus symbol. So if you have multiple parameters, you can keep on add here. So this is the email. So I'm passing some default value. If you want to pass that according to mail expression language, you can pass the dynamic values also. I just added static values. If you want to add it, so then we have to write that according to mail expression language. You can use flow vars, session vars, then you can use directly here according to mail expression language. You can dynamically pick it up. Then you can pass. You can choose the type here, what type of data you are going to insert. Either it is a club or else blob or else any integer character. I can choose here different types of data is there. So that too we have whatever you mentioned right here. I choose all the strings only. So that's why I kept all.
In the value you have to modify, right? In the values you have to modify like flows.var.
Yes, that's what. So I just
Instead of first name.
yeah, I just hard coded the values here. So
Right.
what I'm trying to
Right.
say, if you are getting it dynamically, then you can write it will accept actually. You can see here also. It's not coming actually. You can try it will take it actually. Whatever the dynamic value you are passing. So it will take. Okay, so that is nothing but a parameterized thing. Just after that I'm just converting to object to JSON. Then I'm trying to display that actually. So after inserting this, generally if you insert any record in successfully in database, it will return positive value, it will return 1. Or else you are writing any, you are getting any information from that, then it will return some object actually. So the database will return object. So we have to show to the user as a JSON format or else different expected format. We have to convert into that object to JSON or else whatever required format. We have to keep it that component. And finally, just display the log, what payload we are getting from that. Just deploying this one. Debug as new application. Just mute yourself. There is a behind some dog is barking.
This log is only to display the request, right?
Where
Log response.
yes, first one is request.
in the console.
First one is request. Last one is I'm displaying response. Okay, I'm just hitting the request with the name of insert. This is a Postman client.
You have used get request, right? You have to, I think you have to use post.
No, this is
We
not.
are inserting the data.
We are inserting, but we are not sending any data now. From the Postman, I'm not sending. So here I just hard coded the data, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay, so request got it. Just log that. So now got displayed. So this is the database connection. So got created. See this? Here we can see the positive value. So if the record inserted successfully in database, then it will display 1. If anything issue happened, it will display the log actually what was the reason. I mean exception it will display. We didn't handle exceptions as of now. So I'm just clicking the next. See this payload is coming as a 1 and I'm displaying it. These are the logs. See response is positive value.
So is the record created in the database?
Yes. So previously how many records? Previously 1, 2, 3, 4 records. Let's see. Fifth record should be that. See this fifth record. Previously only 4 records. Fifth record got inserted. If that inserted successfully only, then that time only will get the positive value here. So you can see here response is 1, positive 1. If anything's happened, it will display some according to that particular error message. So this is here what I'm trying to say here. Here one is operation is different here. Previously we saw that select kind of thing. Now insert. So here previously we saw that query type is dynamic. So now we are saying about template type. Template type. Okay. So in the template type, so we have to choose here. We have to pass all these things, all the parameters. What are the parameters required? We have to pass here. Then we have to set all the values dynamically. Then we have to choose it. That's it. That is about parameter. So that is template related. Okay. So the next one is another one is there is a parameterized. You can see parameterized also. So what is the difference? Why you are choosing these different types? If it is a parameterized, the performance is speeder than normal. Okay, that is one thing. Another one is security
Performance
related.
will be.
Yeah, performance will be better than normal dynamic related time actually. Okay, that is the one thing.
Okay.
Second thing is security related also. So here we are setting each and every parameter separately, right? So security wise also it better a bit faster than that actually. I mean bit better than that. So this is a parameterized, again parameterized. So previously we choose template type, right? Now choose parameterized. So insert into employee. If you see here, all are I'm sending dynamically. So flowwares dot first name, flowwares dot last name, flowwares dot telephone, flowwares dot email. This way also you can write it actually. Previously we choose the template type, then we set the template type, right? Template part. We have to open the separate dialog, we set all these things, right? So now this is a parameterized here itself. Then we have to pass all the values dynamically here.
Oh, in parameterized, you have to pass it dynamically.
Oh god, what happened? Control Z is not working. Something gone wrong. Not only parameterized we pass dynamically, all are also we can pass dynamically. But what I'm trying to say here, way of writing the query is different. Way of writing the query is different. See, if you go for dynamic, then we can write here itself. If you go for parameterized, here only you can write it. If you go for template, now so that is different actually. If you go for template, so difference is here itself we have to choose a template. That template we are creating here itself. The template part we are creating. If you see why this is better than other things actually. One is security wise, another one is performance wise actually. Here what happened, each and every variable we are putting dynamically here, then security wise also it will directly we are what we called in Java there is a we have different types of classes are there actually. Parameterized prepared statement is one, built-in class is there. When you use prepared statement, that time what happen, you have to pass each and every variable like this. So directly email, that directly set email. First name, so then set first name. Last name, set string, set integer, like that it will go. Same thing they implemented here actually. See, oh, security wise also I will tell you the reason. See what happened if you choose the dynamic thing, suppose think here I'm choosing like this. Here if you change simple thing it will affect, right? If you change here, if you change something in place of flow as dot something, we can get something, right? What happened? It will get effect, right? It will whole thing, your query won't work actually because it's unable to get the value, it won't affect. But in case of here, this is each thing is separate, that is not included into query itself. If you see here, each parameter is separate. Each parameter is separate. We are setting each parameter is separate actually. If you something is wrong in this, it will clearly mention us this field is not happened, this field is not matching, it will clearly tell us actually. That will affect anything happen this variable, it will display clearly error and it will affect only that parameter, right? Remaining it will work, might be it will take null value or else it will, but previous one is not dynamic thing. If anything happen, whole query is affected, something will gone actually. Security wise and performance wise also this parameterize is better than these two types. Okay, so that is about these two things: parameterized and dynamic, and then what, template. Three types. So another one is also there. So there is a this
Hmm.
is not, sorry, this is not the table actually. This is the procedure. How will write the procedure? Yeah, tell me your question.
Yeah, something there was uh, from file also it is taking something, some option is there.
Yeah, yeah. So
Parameterized.
for everything is there. For not only this database generated, I'll show you while setting the database connection also. You have to create some Java bean, then you can set it. So we can set. So that is why they are giving that type of option. So no need to come and open the configuration. Not required to do it actually. Just create external file, right? Just write whole things there. We can upload that. That option is there.
So best practice is using parameterized, right?
Yes, yes. So other way also there actually. So here in backend we'll write some procedures. So previously we saw the tables, right? So we can write some procedures also. We should know the basic things of how to create the procedures and all. So this is a creation of procedure. This is a creation of procedures. Create procedures. So what is the difference between procedure and this normal table? In the procedure we can write the logic. We'll get the data in multiple tables. And previously we will see only, we're talking about only one table. But if you write the
Hmm.
procedure, in the procedure itself we'll talk multiple tables. We will join the multiple tables. We can get the data. We can pull that using that mule component, stored procedure component. Okay, so that will return it actually. So that time what happen, whenever you write the procedure, that time you have to choose that option. Choose that option, that stored procedure option. You have to choose the stored procedure. Then accordingly we have to write that so query. So generally based on that, how we'll call that procedure? Just simply call that procedure name, what it was expecting. So the parameters we have to pass it actually. So it was expecting only one parameter according to my procedure. So then we have to pass that, we have to keep it accordingly.
Can we call three tables at a time?
No, no, no. We are talking about procedure, not tables. In the procedure, if you can write multiple tables combination, whatever you want to achieve, you
Yeah,
can
that's
write
what.
in. You can write in. Yeah, we can write in the procedure. Then we are talking about procedure. If you call the procedure, it will talk about multiple tables, and then it will fetch it.
So in real time you might be using procedures only, right?
Yeah, it's based on requirement. Generally, I mean, if you use the procedure now, so these people will write a whole logic in procedure. If you're talking about table, we have to maintain that logic. Suppose if you want to calculate some opportunity amount on fly, that time what happen? They will create in procedure. They will just return the amount. That whole logic they implemented in procedure, then they will give it simply. If not, we have to calculate in the middleware. Just whatever the required fields you want, we have to get the required fields. Then we have to write the logic in the middleware itself. Okay, so that was the thing. I'm trying to show you something. It's not there in English. So that is the process for getting that thing. So here you can see the payload also. Just display the payload. So one is display. So that is about database related thing. So if you have any questions, we'll discuss. Just create some POCs. So just check with all these operations: dynamic, parameterized, template. Right? You can play accordingly. If you have any queries, we'll discuss again. Next one is there is one more component called JMS. JMS. So what is the purpose of the JMS? So listen my scenarios. So when you go for JMS queuing mechanism I'm talking about. So
Your voice is not audible.
mhm. Can you hear me now?
Venkat, your voice is breaking.
Oh,
Hello?
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Here we are.
You are telling about JMS, right?
Yes, we are talking about another component called JMS queuing mechanism, JMS component. So what was the purpose? So when you will go for this JMS queue, so this is a component actually. So when you will go for that JMS, uh, first scenario, I'm saying about first scenario. Suppose generally people will expect whenever you will hit the request, people will expect a response, right? It's kind of a synchronous response actually. So sometimes what happen, we are trying to upload some 100 opportunities. I'm trying to create 100 opportunities at a time. If you are going to create only one opportunity, whenever you hit the request, we'll get the uh, response immediately, right? Sometimes what happen, I want to upload multiple things at a time. So server can't able to serve things, right? So that time what happened, we have to keep that whole thing into some queue. So for that, there is a third party called ActiveMQ, RabbitMQ. There are different types of queuing mechanisms out there. So whenever you hit the request, according to your mule, we can keep it whole things into uh, ActiveMQ, right? In queuing mechanism. So after from the queuing mechanism, you can pull one by one. You can send it to the server. Get it? So that is the purpose of this queue actually. Whenever you want to keep that data into queuing mechanism, then that time you have to use this component JMS queue. Okay, so that is the one scenario. Another scenario is, see, my requirement is so user will hit the request. I mean, consumer will consume our service. So in the service, they will send one callback URL. They will send one callback URL. So in Mule end, what we need to do, based on that callback URL, I have to check it actually. If the callback URL is there, then that time only I have to keep the data into queuing mechanism. If there is no callback URL, then I have to ignore to push that message into a queuing mechanism. You are getting why that callback URL is. So based on that callback URL, might be some other mission, some other system pull the message from the queuing mechanism. These people will redirect to according to the callback URL. That is one scenario you are getting. So that type of requirements we have to use this type of JMS queue. So I was saying about only two scenarios. There are several scenarios actually. So that time we have to use this JMS queuing mechanism. You are getting. So further,
That means you are getting from other service and getting the response, right?
see, consume according to client requirement. Okay, so he will send one URL, whatever the URL it is. Might be that is separate, separate application URL, think like that. Separate application URL.
So,
He will send separate application URL in the JSON value, one of the field in the request, right? One of the field in the request. That time what happened? What we need to do as a middleware guy, we have to check the condition in the
your
JSON format. Oh, in the JSON format, we have to check it that value is there or not, callback URL is there or not. We have to check it. Okay. So we have to keep it some choice condition. We have to check that callback URL is there or not. If the callback URL is there, then that whole information we have to keep it in a queue according to condition. You are getting. So some other mission is there now. Some other people will pull the message from the queue, right? Understood. Our functionality is just we have to push the message into queue. You are getting right. So some other mission, right, will subscribe the queue. Will subscribe the queue based on that callback URL. They will push the data into from that queue to they will pull it. They will push to that data to that particular callback URL. You are getting. Understood, right? That is other scenario. Okay, so further, how we will use this? First, what we need to do for this? For this, we need to install ActiveMQ software in our local. So generally, we have to install in server, but we are talking about always local, right? So further, we have to
so
install.
ActiveMQ and RabbitMQ are the same? Are they one and the same?
Yes, both are same. You can use anything, but people will prefer freeware only, right? So we'll go for ActiveMQ and RabbitMQ also freeware only, but some differences, right? Some admin side, so they will give better analyze things. Which one is better? Then accordingly, we have to go. They will give you some what we called analyze, right? So how the requests are came, how many requests came, how many acknowledgements back. So anything is losing that messages. They will give better analyzation, right? Better screenshot, what we call better charts and all they will provide actually. So that too high visibility we have to look into it. So which one is high visibility? So that one also we have to check it. It should not down, right? So that we also have to think it. So further, we have to install, there is a software called Apache ActiveMQ. So this Apache people provided, this ActiveMQ we have to install. This is the latest version, ActiveMQ 5.13.0. So here, how we'll start this? How we'll start this? Just already I installed it my local. Install means just download the zip file, place into somewhere else. Then you have to start that MQ. Just open your command prompt. Go to that particular path. I just copy the path. Okay, under that bin is there. Just ActiveMQ start. That's it.
Yep.
Your ActiveMQ will start.
మధ్య మధ్యలో మీ వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అయిపోతుంది.
Is it only today itself, right?
You are okay. You are open. You went into the bin folder and you have started, right?
Yes, exactly. So it got started. Then what we need to do? First we have to create the flow. We'll create the flow. We'll test the configuration also here. Okay, so then we are getting some requests. Okay, we are getting from
Can we
the
use JMS?
yeah. Tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me your question. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of HTTP, we use queue.
Yes, you can use directly queue also. You can push directly here also this one. That time what happened? Two things actually. That time what happened? We have to keep it in a poll. There is a option called poll. That time what happened? Generally when you will go for this poll, now we are pushing actually, right? Now we are pushing the message to queue, right? Understood.
Hmm.
If you want to pull the message queue, that time you have to use this ActiveMQ under inbound connector. That time what happened? So whenever the message is there in queuing mechanism,
Inside queue.
yeah, inside queue, that will pull it. For that we need to subscribe it actually. So means it will keep on check it actually. So whenever the message is there in queue, it will pull it. Or else we can use a poll component. There is a poll is there actually. Inside poll you can keep it. We can keep that JMS thing. So that time what happened? We have to give some poll time actually. Every 5 seconds, every 5 minutes, or else a refreshment time will give it actually. That time what happened? It will go and check it. If the message is there, it will pull out.
Hmm.
Now we are pushing the operation. If you want to pull that, we can keep this into starting point.
So
That time nobody
first you
think,
have to
yeah,
poll.
yeah,
First you have to drag and drop poll, and then you have to insert JMS, right?
yeah. That's what. When you go for poll, if there is any refreshment, I don't want to every time go and check it. So if you're not using poll, what happen? It will keep on checking actually. I mean by internally some configuration, it will go and check it. Means we need to subscribe that queue. So it will automatically whenever message got it right, that time automatically full out. No need to do anything if you subscribe it. So if you want to some refreshment time, I don't want to keep on checking. I want to check only after 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes in the day, it should check based on the time. So that time what happen? We have to keep it a poll. We have to set some refreshment time. That time only every 5 minutes it will go. If you set that 5 minutes as a refreshment time, then after 5 minutes it will go. It will pull it. Understood.
Hmm.
Now we are pushing the information.
And what are the properties for setting?
Yes, I'm showing you. So this is the pushing the operation. Pushing or whatever it is, pulling both are same only configuration. See this here. The time what happened that request response we have to choose it actually. But as of now it's a outbound connector. It's not inbound actually. Now we have to give the queue actually.
So
See.
if you don't, you have to use the request response. Huh?
Yes, that time response also should come. Now acknowledgement should come, right? Whenever insert the queue, I mean whenever the pull the queue, might be it should send to the acknowledgement to the queuing mechanism. Accordingly, it will remove the message from the queue, right? Understood. Once pull the message, it should not be
Mm-hmm.
it should
Right, right.
not be in queue. So that time what happened? When it's got
Yes,
delivered to
yes, yes.
the target system, it will give the acknowledgement. According to acknowledgement, that message should not be that message will remove from the queuing mechanism. If anything is backend, it's still be there actually. Anything happened wrong, it won't be inserted in target system. It won't reach to target system. Acknowledgement won't go. Then that time what happened? That message should maintain there itself, right? Again, it will hit it. You are getting.
Mm.
See here we have to pass the queue names, what queue you are using. So further, you can see the GUI mode. After installing that software, after running that, I just run it. You can see that that ActiveMQ in GUI mode.
It is same for RabbitMQ also, right? You have the same
Yes,
bin folder
yes,
under the console.
yes, same thing only. This is a GUI for ActiveMQ. Here there is a different options are there. Queue, topic, subscription, connection, something is there. We're talking about queues, right? Just these are the queues in my ActiveMQ. See this? Sales is the one of the queue. I created a sales is the queue. In that number of pending messages,
How you have created a queue?
no need. I
How to
mean,
create a queue?
that's
Try
what
this.
that's what here you mentioned now. There's a two ways actually. If you want to create manually, you can create it. There is a queue option is there, right? So you can create new queue. You can enter some
Mm,
name, you can create it. That is manual creation.
mm,
I created through Mule itself. Whenever you keep
mm,
it sales now, that will automatically create it. That taken care by your Mule itself.
mm.
So here I just give a queue name called sales. Then this is a connector configuration. This is a connector configuration. We have to pass this simple name of the queue. Then broker URL. We have to pass the broker URL. What was the broker URL? This is a broker URL. Localhost 8161. Right? That is a URL. Next one is username and
Mm.
password is by default guest and guest. If you change it accordingly, you have to pass that username and password. This is a basic configuration. Okay. So
We have not set any username and password, right? While setup.
no, it won't ask actually. Generally, admin people will set uh, for security purpose. They will change the username and password. Right? They can change it. That time they will provide us.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is a configuration for ActiveMQ. Then click OK. Then whatever the queue it is, then you have to pass that accordingly. That queue name. Next one is here ActiveMQ configuration already set. That is done. So that is a configuration setup. Once done, you have to hit the request. It will convert to. It will expect string actually. That's why I converted into string. So then it will insert and finally display that information to here. It's nothing will come. So coming to here in the ActiveMQ, once message inserted, this count will be increased. This number of pending messages count will be increased. If already somebody will subscribe the message, this count will be reduced. You are getting. If I inserted, this should be 2. The number of consumer as of now 0 is there. If any consumer pull the message, that time what happen? Uh, it will remove the message from the queue once successfully delivered. If you want to see the message, just click that sales, just click that queue, just it will generate one ID for that each and every message. Open that, you can see whole detailed information of that particular message. This message I sent it actually. I will send it once again. This is the message I sent it. I will hit once again. I'm trying to deploy this application.
So for all REST services, you are using this, right? Byte string. And
What? What?
you
Not
are using that byte to string every time you are using
no, it depends
byte to
actually.
string component.
Yeah, it depends actually. It depends based on your input. Okay, I'm just hitting the request. I'm sending this item code is 002. Item name is some short quantity is some 10. Price is some 200. I'm hitting this message. That should be post actually because we are hitting some information to the server. Then it will go to the flow. So this is you are getting. So finally string we are getting. Just click it.
Can you just show me that byte array format, how it will be in the console?
In the console.
I'm not aware of the format actually. I have not heard about that byte array.
Byte array means we can't show in directly. I can't able to type it. So we can show in debug mode actually. Not sure. First we'll see the message inserted or not. Then we'll see that part.
Mm.
Okay. Just click the queue. Just go to the sales series. Now count got increased. Previously one is there. Now count got 2. So there is no consumer as of now. Message and queue by 2. If you want to see the message, you can click it. See this now ID got generated, new ID. You can set the priority also. If you don't want, you can remove it. Click that. See this now latest message. We inserted 200. Okay, you want to talk about that byte array. So that message got inserted. That whole message I'm displaying actually. See this so many data it's going actually. You can change this or generally. If you see this, so much of data it's going to ActiveMQ. So what are the messages going? Inbound properties, inbound scoped messages, accept, method type, query parameters, and then path. So much of data is pushing to queue actually. So if you want to remove, generally people won't ask this much of information. By default, your mule is pushing that much information. You can remove also. You can filter it. You can remove it from that. Okay. So that is the part. I'm just keep it a debug here. Let's see. Again, I'm pushing the information.
So is this format to push the information?
Yeah, generally, I mean, according to my requirement, I'm taking JSON actually. So some other requirement we are getting
Okay,
some
okay.
XML, we have to convert into even ActiveMQ expected format. We have to push it accordingly. We can push XMLs also, no issue. But what we are doing, just whatever data we are getting, we just keep it into queuing mechanism. Then we are pulling. That's
You.
we are placeholder. That's it. See, at a time your server won't support multiple thousands of requests at a time. We just keep it into somewhere else. We just pull it one by one. We are pushing one more to the server. Generally, in Salesforce side, sometimes what happen? They are setting like server setup. Only this time to this time only request should happen. Other times, only night times, no need to expect any request, right? Some after 12 to 3 o'clock, they won't accept the request. That time what happened? Whole information they kept into a queuing mechanism. Think like that. They will just kept into a queuing mechanism. From the queue, after 3 o'clock, from the queue, they will start pulling one by one until unless they will store only whole thing into queuing mechanism. Whenever 3 after 3 o'clock, then server will start pull the message from one by one. Understood? See this is a message we are getting actually. Buffer input stream, whatever you are getting the data, right? We are sending as a JSON. We are sending as a JSON here. Okay. So then that is convert into some other format internally that will taken care by your mule actually. The payload is not in the readable format. It is in the form of something like glass fishy bridgy utils dot buffer input stream. Okay. I'm trying to
So
convert.
this is the thing coming from HTTP, right?
Yes. Coming from
So whenever you use HTTP, the message will be like this only.
uh,
Oh, okay, okay.
not
For
sure
JSON,
actually.
it is like this. Okay.
Yeah, whatever you are sending input feed, right? Accordingly. Understood. So that time you have to use it actually. That's why if you send it directly now, so if you won't convert that into proper format, if you send directly, it will reject it actually. Your JMS won't accept.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mm.
From HTTP only, I'm asking this. It is converting like this, right?
Yes. That is based on input. So we can't talk about the HTTP actually. Based on your input actually. Okay.
If you send XML also, it will be like something like this only, I think.
Yes, yes. Okay, now so that is about JMSQ. So any questions as of now? So that is the database is done. The next one is JMSQ also done. So if you want to show me that pull message, then we'll discuss that one also. So you can also try it actually. Just create one poll. In the poll, we can keep it active
Do
MQH.
you have this PubSub concept?
Pops up. You can keep it like this actually.
Publish, subscribe.
Yeah, that one only. Well, means that
Hmm.
configuration setup means we are subscribing actually. That time what happened, we can pull that message. Okay, so that is today's session.
Okay.